this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill no one.
Wait a second.
No.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. This is Kotobuki Jake, and we're here to show you what we got.
Yeah.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
Got some fun stuff here today.
Indeed.
You know what we didn't do? We didn't even talk about the darned... I'm about to do some editing on that next episode. Well, that next stuff episode. It's been so long since I've done the stuff.
Yeah.
I have to figure out I gotta figure out where to put the slideshow in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do a pause for it. And you know what we did today? No Gundam.
Oh, yeah.
But we did get some good pickups this week. I don't know. You might have gotten some Gundam this week. Did you get Gundam this week?
No, I did not.
All right. So I'm just going to start us off there.
Apologies for the cat in the background.
For the longest time, I have had this as my Apocalypse Now.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a pathetic piece, too, because it's
It
just
is.
redone. And it's an Oscar winner, which is why it's in the collection. But I believe it's the theatrical that was winning the Oscar, and if you want to go theory-wise.
Yeah.
So this would not even be appropriate. This has bothered me for a while because it's only the one version.
Mm-hmm.
Well, finally, I went ahead and said, you know what? It's on sale for $7. I'll pick it up, and I upgraded.
Nice.
This has, let's see here. It has the original theatrical, and it has the redo, and the full audio commentary. It also has Hearts of Darkness on it, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
With an audio commentary on that. So it's kind of cool to see some cool stuff here and to have both versions of the film. And maybe I'll enjoy it more watching the theatrical. I've never seen the theatrical version. I've only ever seen redo.
Oh.
So maybe the theatrical version will make it a little bit more enjoyable. Well, not sure that's the word, but you know what I mean.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Wait, was that one or Platoon?
Batshit crazy, that's what it is.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And yeah, I think it's this one that's the napalm in the morning.
So my turn?
Yep.
Screen was still on you, that's all I wasn't sure. So, next up, first up, I guess, last month, a month before last, on this channel, we are doing our lovely anime anti-climax series. I'm currently working my way through the last episode. That's how friggin' far behind I am, because this one keeps putting way too much content on, and I have no time to watch anything. But anyway, when I ordered Gunslinger Girl, I also acquired another series that, much like Gunslinger Girl, is a series I've known by name for a long time, that I felt like I needed to see for a long time, and I have not yet seen. And in this case, I still have not yet seen, but I now have it. And that is Gankotsuo, the Count of Monte Cristo. Nice little thin pack edition box set there. pretty nice looking. A little bit rough around the edges, unfortunately, but that's sometimes to be expected when you buy used. Got it off eBay. It wasn't a bad cost, but I can't remember how much at this point. But it is nice that I finally have this. One day I will watch it. It will happen. But it's finally available for when that day comes.
It's got such a high rating.
It does.
And you know what's
Wasn't that
funny?
also one Dane raved about?
Yeah, you know what's funny is that this one, you see, I have it too.
Mm-hmm.
It's also Romeo and Juliet had a pretty high rating too during the time. You notice the Save Edition, how similar it is to the regular edition?
Mm-hmm.
Because all it is it's the regular edition, but they put the
sticker.
This is how you can tell it's early Save Edition, because back then they didn't even bother to make anything other than like, let's just slap the save sticker on it, you know.
And sometimes it wasn't even on the case; it was on the plastic outer wrapping.
Yeah. So this one, like for instance, once I open this, no one's going to be able to tell that it was a save.
Right.
And some of them even did like it to a reversible cover, so you could actually reverse it to the original artwork. But not all of them. Some of them still you have to keep the ugly. Speaking of ugly, let's talk about an interesting character who directed a few films. Gosh, what is his name? Quentin Dupieux.
Haha, I know where this is going.
Who made a lovely film called Rubber, about a killer tire. Then made a story about a man and his dog called Wrong. And then I have a DVD only release of the newest film he did, Deerskin. We covered it on here. And it was a priority. I said it was a priority, so you should have known it was going to be in the collection.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get to it because I keep going alphabetical, so I keep adding, and then just keeps getting pushed back. So, I mean, this has got Jean Dujardin. Dujardin.
Yeah.
Yes. So, you know, from the artist, and it looks interesting. In this black comedy of middle-aged masculinity gone awry. Let's see, Academy Award winner Jean Dujardin is a recent divorcee who becomes obsessed with a vintage fringed deerskin jacket that begins to exert an uncanny hold on him. So all of his stuff are black comedies, really. Yeah. So I like his deadpan sense of humor. So yes, I will be watching that very very shortly. Yes. And I guess I will just pull you over.
Okay. And of course, nothing says midlife crisis like a deerskin jacket.
It does.
There we go. So, you said, speaking of ugly, actually, it's interesting that most of tonight's pickups share one very solid theme: Criterion. And I start and end with the theme that is unbelievably prescient right now of the divisions between people and the sometimes insane things that happen when people can't get along. And I have them all alphabetically except for the one that arrived today. There was one that had to be ordered. And that one is held to the end for multiple reasons, but that's as good a reason as any. But even with them all alphabetically, there's an interesting progression here, and I think it's pretty cool. And it starts with two films that are actually upgrades. I've done very little upgrading into Criterion, but I have a handful of titles where it will happen eventually because I have like bare bones DVD releases. So getting a Criterion Blu-ray is definitely a multiple format upgrade, you could say. And this one, I believe I have. I believe I have a fairly basic DVD collection, but I upgraded to the recent re-release, which is a 2-disc Blu-ray, very nice looking edition of the Spike Lee joint, Do the Right Thing.
Ah, good.
Which is a big hulking set there. And look at all those bonus features. That is a nice... But like I said, it's a 2-disc set, so you would hope there's a lot there. And this is a 4K supposedly restoration, Blu-ray, so it's not going to be quite that fancy, but definitely an upgrade from what I think I have. This was kind of the film more than any other that people tend to cite when they talk about Spike Lee. It is a good film. It is basically one hot day in New York City, if I remember correctly. And that's pretty much it. That's the thing. Like, what happens to people in Brooklyn when it's so hot you can't even think straight? And it's considered one of the great, I guess, social justice commentary films of the 80s and arguably of all time. So it seems like as good a thing as any to start off with at this particular juncture.
All right. Well, let's take a look at what we got here. Well, as you know, Bruce Lee had that set come out.
Yep.
And I had to get something else that was related. I found out about watching documentary. Was the film The Dragon Lives Again.
Ah.
12 assassins from hell with one objective, kill Bruce. So it's one of the Bruce-exploitation films, one of the early ones, believe it or not.
Right.
And, it actually takes place right after his death. And he ends up facing people like the Man with No Name, Popeye the Sailor Man, various figures and so on. And after looking at that, I mean, you can see in the back, you can see like Popeye there, like. So I was like, I got to get this, and I was hoping that we would do this on Inside Movies Galore, but alas, no.
Well, there's always some time later.
There is.
Yes. And incidentally, Do the Right Thing would be a good one to eventually do on Movies Galore.
Oh, yes.
And one we did do on Movies Galore. Actually, that was a really great segue, because the other upgrade that I have here is a very, very recent release. We did this film on Inside Movies Galore, and during the discussion, we mused aloud about when would Criterion release it, and within days, we got the announcement that Criterion was releasing it. So they must have been listening to our channel. Yay! And that is the David Lynch classic, The Elephant Man, with, of course, John Hurt as Joseph Merrick, and also Anthony Hopkins as the surgeon Frederick Trevis. And you've also got John Gielgud, Wendy Hiller, and Anne Bancroft. And like I said, David Lynch film. This was one of his first feature films. And it is a truly, and as we found out, I had not known this, but as we found out, a Mel Brooks production, or rather a Brooks Films production. This film has some pretty impressive bonus features on there, including, I believe there was only one, I want to say this one here, the Terrible Elephant Man Revealed, is, I believe, the documentary that was on the edition I already owned. And that was like the only bonus feature. So this was like a very clear upgrade. And I also would like to see what it looks like with an upgrade restoration to the visuals. I did not get the super fancy British edition that I think you and Dane both ordered, right?
Yeah, the 4K edition was awesome.
So that's a cool looking set, but this is a nice looking set.
Yes.
this will still look very nice on the shelf. And I won't be rushing to watch this one again anytime soon because it's not one you watch all the time. It's one you watch every few years.
Happy feel-good movie.
Huh?
Happy feel-good movie.
Yes, indeed. But good to have it.
Well, you know, and I would have gotten that version too if I had actually realized at the time it was coming out on there. Yeah. But it's like it hasn't been released for so long, and then mentioning the devil, it appeared.
Yeah.
So I got this thing a little while back because I was trying to get some extra stuff from people around the View Askew-verse in a way. So I've got this cool Jason Lee and Jason Mewes film called Drawing Flies, which is an interesting, essential film for fans of the View Askew-verse. Drawing Flies stars Jason Lee, Jason Mewes, Renee Humphrey, Martin Brooks, and Cameron Lee. Let's see here. It tells the story of Donner, the unofficial leader of a troop of slackers who've just been kicked off of welfare. Donner convinces his friends what they need to turn their lives around is a camping trip. As they go deeper and deeper in the woods, Donner's behavior grows increasingly erratic, and unbeknownst to the group, finally reveals that visions have put him on a quest to find Bigfoot. So it looks fun, looks interesting. I am very much looking forward to checking this out. I mean, I'm a View Askew-verse fan, so I am, and this is supposed to have some relation, so I'm curious about it. And the cast also makes me curious.
Sounds good. Curiosity is mostly what this next film has going for it, since I know relatively little about it, but I had heard about it, and I feel like I had heard good things. But every time the Criterion sale happens, I keep an eye out for ones that are cheaper than the rest, because why not? And this happens to be one of those. It's a film by Lucille Cara from 1991 called The Inland Sea. And basically, in 1971, author and film scholar Donald Ritchie published a poetic travelogue about his explorations of the islands of Japan's inland sea, recording his search for traces of a traditional way of life, as well as his own journey of self-discovery. 20 years later, filmmaker Lucille Cara undertook a parallel trip, inspired by Ritchie's then classic book, etc., etc. So basically, it's, sort of a travelogue documentary from what I understand. It has a few bonus features, certainly more than you would expect from one that was selling cheaper than the others were. I know this one by name, but I know very little else about it. So I'm kind of going into this blind. But like I said, I'm always looking for ways to expand the Criterion collection. And that looks interesting.
Hey, the sale always makes good for that. That's for sure.
Yes.
And so I've got one that I got from Wet Movie One, but now he was selling some stuff, and it was a decent one. This is kind of a remake of an older film, I believe, but this is a Donnie Yen film called Enter the Fat Dragon, which looks funny. I've wanted to get a hold of this. I didn't even know it looks to be a remake of one that was in the past. But this guy is like a cop. He ends up being put to a desk job, and he gets fat because he gets a pension for snack cakes. So he ends up having to come out of his retirement from desk work to do some real butt kicking. But unfortunately, he's not quite in the shape he used to be.
Right.
So looks like fun. I can't wait to see it myself. So I am very much looking forward to it. Have you seen it?
I have not. I know we talked about it on this channel, and I was curious about it, but yeah. Okay. That could be a good one next time we do Martial Arts Mayhem. My next one is one that has been frequently discussed with the group. In fact, I know that Mo will be very happy and pleased to hear that I got this. It's one that I considered last time. I was really close. And this time I sprung for it. And that is the Lone Wolf and Cub collection, which features Lone Wolf and Cub Sword of Vengeance, Lone Wolf and Cub Baby Cart at the River Styx, Lone Wolf and Cub Baby Cart to Hades, Lone Wolf and Cub Baby Cart in Peril, Lone Wolf and Cub Baby Cart in the Land of Demons, and Lone Wolf and Cub White Heaven in Hell. 6 films, decent amount of special features, not a huge amount for the amount of films you've got there, but it's a nice little set, nice little collection. Chambara, I think, was the genre this is supposed to be in, and I know this is definitely more Mo's kick than mine, but I feel like there was a patron at the library that was obsessed with this one and Godzilla, and now I have both of those sets. She would be so envious. But I do want to see these eventually, and I was like, okay, this is the way to get this set on the sale.
It used to be a little bit harder to find the Blu-ray, so it's good that you got them. I mean, I got the DVD version, but still. So kudos.
Yeah.
So this is one I found that was really cheap. I think it was one of my 2 that I got, like, I think for $5, which was I upgraded my Escape from New York.
Nice.
Which is awesome. I'm watching the other one, Big Trouble in Little China, already, which was a really cool thing.
Saw that last night.
This, of course, was one of the major inspirations for Solid Snake Plissken.
Right.
In a future where apparently large amounts of land are basically roped off as private prisons. Apparently the entire city of New York in this one. He has to be sent in to on a rescue mission in order to get his freedom. It's actually a pretty good one. It has Donald Pleasance in it. Kurt Russell, of course, as Snake Plissken. It's an awesome movie. It's one that most people should see if they love sci-fi action. It's great. You benefited from this purchase as well. So that's
Yep.
You know what my next one's going to be.
I have an idea. So, speaking of sci-fi action, now for something completely different. One of your favorite films of last year, I know. I know you just raved and raved about this one. Multiple Oscar-winning film from Noah Baumbach called Marriage Story, which written and directed by Baumbach, starring Oscar-nominated performances from Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson, Oscar-winning performance from Laura Dern. Excellent film. Dern, really, honestly, that should not have been the Oscar she won. It should have gone to someone else. But, them's the breaks. Johansson, I thought, has probably never been better. And everyone involved was really on their A game. It was a very well done movie. It is about a very depressing subject. A young family falling apart because the parents just aren't really clicking anymore. But they're still friends, which just makes it all the more drawn out and weird and painful. Strangely enough, I did not find this remotely the most painful to watch Baumbach film. That would be Margot at the Wedding. I thought this was actually more entertaining than The Squid and the Whale. I actually enjoyed this film, but it is a hard watch. It's not one I'm going to want to watch regularly, but I definitely had to get it. As we've said before, excellent that Criterion is releasing quality Netflix films. I really hope that they continue and that they step up their release schedule a little bit. I know you are chomping at the bit for American Factory, and I would like to get that myself. We've got The Irishman coming out in, 2 weeks maybe? But yeah, they need to do a few more. They need to put out Ballad of Buster Scruggs and Mudbound and Icarus and The Beast of No Nation and I've Lost My Body and so many films they need to release, and Criterion would be a hell of a way to do it. But glad they got this one out.
Well, my next one here is the sequel to Escape from New York, which is Escape from LA.
Nice.
This one's a nice one. Of course, it has Bruce Campbell actually making an appearance in it, and a couple of others. I like this one just as much. This time, of course, California itself, like California, just roped off because Fault kind of threw it off into the ocean. Again, more of the same. Send in again. You get your freedom again if you survive. So go get the person that we need you to rescue. Another Kurt Russell classic. This one cost me a significant amount more, but it's great having both of these upgraded because I had an extremely bare bones DVD release of this, so I'm very glad to have that.
Well, and didn't you get the other one at like a freakishly low price because stupid reasons? Yes. So I wish I could have gotten any of these for that low price. Next up, I fit a quota. Every sale, I get a Charles Chaplin film, and I'm going to run out of them really soon. But
already done that. I've already done that.
This time around, I got one of his less typical films, one of his often overlooked ones, but one that I've heard is quite excellent. And it's a later film from 1947, and that is Monsieur Vidot. And surprisingly bare bones release for Charles Chaplin. That's still pretty good bonus features, but you'd expect more, I would think. But like I said, it is widely overlooked compared to some of his earlier works. But I have heard this is a really, really good film, and I'm looking forward to seeing it eventually.
Whew. Yeah, and I pretty much run out unless I want to upgrade my copy of The Circus, which isn't much of an upgrade, so that's why I'm kind of like, I'm not sure.
Well, like I said, once I run out of Chaplin, I'll probably go to Harold Lloyd next and then Buster Keaton. That's why I'm pacing myself with them.
Well, this one I'm not going to even talk a lot about. I had all three of these before, but two of them were on DVD. So I went ahead and I upgraded for $5 to the Expendables. Pack. So it's like that. So
That's a little thin.
Yeah, space saver essentially, and having them all on Blu-ray is not bad. I like the first two. Haven't seen the third one.
Same here.
The first one does take itself seriously. The second one definitely does not, and I don't know what the third one is about. So we're going to find out because it looks awesome. I love the Expendables, so I need to go ahead and watch that third one.
Right. So, you almost made me want to take mine out of order, but I'll try to remember my comment here. But my next one is a film that I almost got at the last sale. I forgot to do it, and it's one of those ones. Marriage Story, I didn't really mention. It actually has some pretty good bonus features. I mean, that's not bad for a new release. We've said before, we're not huge fans of brand new films getting the Criterion treatment. But if you're going to at least go all out like that and do a lot of bonus features, this one didn't quite check that box. It's very weak on the bonus features, which I'll show in just a minute. But this is a film that I really, 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 really wanted to see, that was heavily raved about last year. It came to Richmond theaters for 1 week, and I missed it because I didn't know about it until I was at the theater, and I didn't have time to see it at that time because I was watching something else. And it couldn't get an Oscar nod because a different French film got the Oscar nod. This is the French film Portrait de la jeune fille en feu, or Portrait of a Lady on Fire,
Oh.
which, look at that really pathetic little bit of bonus features there. That's really sad. But this is a film that, again, highly raved about film. I really, really, really want to see it. It looks really good. I kind of wish they had waited another year or so and done more with the bonus features. But on the other hand, well, I probably still won't see it for a good while. But theoretically, I can see it sooner.
So with mine, it's a Dollar Tree pickup, so slightly different there. And this one, because it had Kevin Kline and Katie Holmes, I was curious about it, which is The Extra Man.
Okay, I don't know that one.
So again, this is more of just low curious, but dollar. Louis Ives heads to New York City following an embarrassing incident that forces him to leave his job. He rents a room in the apartment of Henry Harrison, a penniless, wildly eccentric playwright. Additionally, he accepts a position with an environmental magazine, where he encounters green-obsessed coworker Mary. But it's Louis's new home life with Henry that really sparks his imagination. So it looks interesting. I am curious, but that's how it is. $1 may or may not be staying in the collection after I see it, but
Right.
it's
worth a look.
I mean, if you saw this for $1, you might pick it up.
Yeah, there's a good chance, especially if there's nothing else there to look at.
It's got good. It's got some good special features. So, got some deleted scenes, some commentaries, a lot of stuff there for $1.
So the last one that I was able to walk home with at that particular juncture, the last one I had to put on order, and we'll get to that at the end. But the last one that I took home with me then is a film that I have mentioned before. I waited a long time to really look at the Criterion releases for Pedro Almodovar, because he had that really awesome set that I wanted to get. But now it's way out of print, and it's like, and they've started doing individual releases of a lot of the films, and some of them are getting Criterion releases. And of course, I got All About My Mother in the spring, and I will probably continue along this trajectory, hoping that they continue to release his films on a regular basis, because I would love to have. I'm a big fan of Almodovar. I really hope his last film, Pain and Glory, I hope that one gets a Criterion release 2 or 3 years from now, and I'll happily pick it up then. But this is a decidedly older one, and again, I almost segued right into it, because am I remembering correctly that Antonio Banderas starred in Expendables 3?
Yeah, I think so.
I believe he was one of several that they added to the cast. I think they also added, it was Kelsey Grammer, Mel Gibson, and Nicolas Cage, wasn't it? Or was it Harrison Ford?
Yeah, and I think Seagal was involved in one point.
And they kicked out Bruce Willis because he was being a jerk, apparently.
Because he was being Bruce Willis.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Chuck Norris was a one-and-done deal. It would have been nice if he'd been back. But anyway, Banderas, as, again, Pain and Glory, he finally got his first ever Oscar nod. He is a long-time collaborator with Almodovar. And this is one of their earlier ones. It's from 1990, a film called Atame, or as it's known in English, Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down. Or as they describe it here, Pedro Almodovar's colorful and controversial tribute to the pleasures and perils of Stockholm Syndrome. Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down is a rambunctious dark comedy starring Antonio Banderas as an unbalanced but alluring ex-mental patient, and Victoria Abril is the B-movie and former porn star he takes prisoner in the hopes of convincing her to marry him. So That's one thing about Almodovar's films. A description of the plot is almost never what you would call conventional. I did see this. Our college had a copy of this, and I watched it in college, and it was one of the first Almodovar films I saw, actually. And I watched it and said, well, that was interesting. But it'd be really cool to revisit it now after all this time. And again, that is a decent number of bonus features there.
Oh,
yeah, but I really do hope they continue putting his films in Criterion. And like I said, I'm going to step up my game trying to get them, but I think there only are 4, if that many, 3 or 4 right now. They need to get into that.
Well, my final one is an anime.
Anime?
Yes, which is I noticed the fairy tale. Of course, it went ahead and started up with one final season so they could wrap up the manga, and of course that would be basically there were 3 series of fairy tale, but they combined them all in the United States. So this would be volume 23 of fairy tale, and I want to say that the last arc will be 2 or 3 volumes. So either 24 or 25.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
You think?
It's going to be at least 2. But
you got the 12 episode volumes there.
Yeah.
That last arc is more than 24 episodes. I'm sure of that.
I'm just double checking because I want to say when I did the research on it.
I could be wrong.
Fairy tale. So, because they consider it they call it the final season.
Right.
For this one. So let's see here. TV3. Of course, it's done. It's been done. 38 episodes total.
Wow. Okay, they wrapped it up quick.
So as I said, 2 to 3.
Well, you got 13 episodes. I'm going to say 3.
Yeah, so probably up to 25. So unfortunately, I don't have the other 2. I think the other one is, I think 24 is out. I can't remember. Let me see. See, this I can actually look up pretty quickly. Let's see here. Reviews. Now they only have the 23 out. So 24 is coming out soon. They make it very confusing in the American release. Because again, they combine the darned things.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Looking at that 20, because I know that Right Stuff will have exactly when that. 20. Yep, it's going to be 3. 24 actually, according to Right Stuff, is in stock. And 25 is coming out in December. So
have they done the listing yet for the larger volume?
Let's see. It's gone up to collection. The problem is they got them mixed up.
Yeah. Well, don't worry about it. I'll figure it out.
Because it's. I'm sure they'll do their thing, though. Well, they always do. It's. But I doubt that the last collection will be ready anyway, just simply because they haven't finished this yet. So, well, 2 more volumes, and I'll be done with Fairy Tale. So that's kind of cool.
All right. Alrighty then. So we're going to end big. Like maybe not like big in terms of like a big set or anything, but in terms of awesome, we're going to end big. So needless to say, I managed to find quite a lot on the shelf. Interestingly enough, there was a title that was probably the top reason I was there. I couldn't find it. I could find the previous edition. This is one where I think Criterion definitely should have waited a year or 2 because it was already in print and they still rushed out an edition just a year or so later. But it also did save me from having to buy it twice, so okay. But this, they did not have it on the shelf, and while I was looking, a young man came up and he's like, hey, could you help me find, and I'm like, That's the one I'm looking for. But Barnes & Noble's really good about placing orders for you, and it got here quickly. And that is last year's #1 most awesome kick-ass film, Bong Joon-ho's Gisang-chung, or Parasite.
I need to get that version.
Yep. And I didn't realize this from the artwork that we were seeing, but this is actually like the Dazed and Confused cover. It actually has like a die-cut cover. And if you open it up, I haven't opened it yet, but if you open it up and slide it out, you're going to see the actual original cover art underneath, which is good because I was worried about this. I was like, what's with the stupid dots?
I want the like Lego looking cover art, but yeah.
Yeah, I like the one with the Legos too. Maybe that's going to be the interior art or something. But even though it's a brand new release, it does still have some decent bonus features, probably a lot better than the release you got. But yes, this is a flippin' awesome movie. It is an incredible movie. And again, I think it's kind of appropriate that I can start and end with these two films because they're both a little more fitting for the current day and age than we'd really like. But definitely, if you've not seen this, you need to rush out and see it. We've already talked many times on this channel, so I won't go into much detail about plot or anything along those lines. But very exciting. And again, you know, my frequently noted goal of getting best ofs. This is 2 of my top 10 for last year. So that was cool. And yeah, it's good times. Not to mention, I think this was my #1 for 1980. But yeah.
Well,
all right.
With that, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Of course, hit that like button, subscribe, and of course, let us know what you picked up.
Yep.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Maybe we can, what was I going to say? Compare the Criterion Hall. What a haul!
I am saving my holiday stuff until January, believe it or not. I'm going to take all that holiday stuff and throw it out in January for people to see.
Right.
Plus, it's mainly because I get a lot of stuff in over the couple of months. So before I start entering it into the collection fully, I just want to do like one big shift.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I wish y'all well, and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.